What's up, and welcome in to Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Thanks so much for downloading the podcast and checking us out on YouTube, youtube.com. Make sure that you like, share, subscribe, and comment to everything we do on YouTube and, of course, our podcast as well, as we're brought to you by the fine folks over at Triller TV. For your pro wrestling and your combat sports needs, go to Triller TV. This is what I use, and I ask you to download the Triller TV app powered by Fight, and you get everything that you want from boxing to pro wrestling to mixed martial arts and everything else on Triller TV. Well, there's been a change on the West Side, and that'll be all for Billy Donovan, the head coach for the Chicago Bulls. He stepped down today as the Bulls finished 31-51 this season in Donovan's sixth season with the Chicago Bulls, a tenure in which the team went 226 and 252. The 60-year-old Donovan has a 469 and 413 record across 11 seasons with the Bulls and the Thunder. Of course, we know that Billy's in the Hall of Fame, but the quote was from his statement: after a series of thoughtful and extensive discussions with ownership regarding the future of the organization, I have decided to step away as head coach of the Chicago Bulls to allow the search process to unfold. I believe it is in the best interest of the Bulls to allow the new leader to build out the staff as they see fit. So Billy Donovan steps down from the Chicago Bulls, and no surprise to me, because even though my partner David Kaplan in the morning, weekday morning 6 to 9 on ESPN 1000 on the ESPN Chicago app, thought that it might be best that Billy Donovan is kicked upstairs, meaning fail up to be upstairs as president of basketball operations. It just wasn't going to be in the cards. Billy was tired. There was no direction with the Chicago Bulls, even though he's a part of it. But the point is that roster and that dog don't hunt. He's a part of it. So was Karnisovas and Eversley. And so now the Bulls are looking for a head coach, a president of basketball operations, and a general manager. And to talk to us is someone who lives and dies with Chicago Bulls basketball from the CTJ report. There he is, folks. Charles Taylor Jr. with us here on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood, our NBA and Bulls expert, especially expert on the losing of the Chicago Bulls over the last 6 years. Charles, how are you?
Good, sir. Thanks for having me on. A lot of dying over these last 6 seasons. A lot.
Well, here it is. We are here to talk about the state of the Chicago Bulls with 3 empty chairs. Head coach, general manager, and, of course, the president of basketball operations. All 3 need to be filled. Can I just tell you, let me start first with Michael Reinsdorf before we talk about Billy. I want to express to you, sir, the arrogance of Michael Reinsdorf and the Bulls organization, because Billy Donovan's been with the team for 6 years. Now he stepped away because he got tired of this. But the quote will always ring true from Michael Reinsdorf, who says that if Billy wants to be our coach and someone's not interested in that, then they're probably not the right candidate for us. He put it out there while Billy was in position and said, yeah, if somebody wants this job as, to take the position of Karnisovas and Eversley, they got to work with Billy, which is completely ass backwards and arrogant, because Billy's our guy and Billy's staying because Billy's got years on his contract. Did Michael Reinsdorf ever think that Billy would leave? Probably not. Just let's start there with the arrogance of Reinsdorf thinking, oh, it's Chicago. We're paying them well. No one want to leave our organization. Billy did.
It's also the same franchise where you couldn't get franchise players to come to your city to play for this team. I don't know what Michael Reinsdorf was thinking when he made that statement at that press conference, but when you make a statement like that to say, hey, the next president of operations and GM is going to have to work with Billy Donovan, you have basically canceled all of the serious candidates who may have actually taken a flyer on taking these positions. So the Bob Myers of the world, I believe the GM up in Toronto, those guys, that understand how to build winning. Yes. Yeah. They know how to build winning franchises. Why would you come to Chicago after, the owner basically makes a statement like that? It's just beyond stupid. You're right. It does speak to his arrogance, thinking that, okay, because we're in Chicago, just anybody and everybody will come. And no, That's not the case. You're They want to see a plan in place. They want to see a structure in place that they can come in and build that structure. And if you've got the head coach there that secretly gave extensions to
Mhm.
and all these type of things, what makes you think that any general manager or VP of operations worth their salt would want to step into that type of mess? Just dumb. That's all I can call it, is dumb.
The Bulls are Billyless. That's it right there. No more Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan, Charles, said that, he never really got into coaching for the notoriety or thinking he'd ever be in the Hall of Fame for what he did with Florida and some good teams, Oklahoma City, the
Mhm,
one playoff appearance with the Bulls. He never thought that he wanted to go into it for notoriety. He says, I love the game. I love competing. I really never thought, hey, I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame. He said, I just want to go into coaching to win, and the competing and the trying part and the teaching, that's what I look forward to. That's what I want to do from a legacy standpoint. He looked at that Bulls roster, and we're going to look at it in just a moment because we have to do some hard truths today about the Chicago
mhm,
Bulls, Charles. He looked at this team and said, I can't win with this. We go back to his time at Oklahoma City. Good teams, right? You're talking about
yeah,
James Harden and Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. Um, and those are good competitive teams for a while, and it just ran its course. And so he was going to leave. The best thing AK did for the organization is bring Billy Donovan in because that was a top shelf hire.
mhm,
However, Billy Donovan, along with AK and Eversley, also are responsible for the one playoff appearance in 6 years. I mean, Billy wasn't always right. I'm never going to be the opinion that someone comes in here, they fail, and it's like, well, it's not their fault. It's bullshit. When you lose, everyone gets a piece of the blame
mhm.
pie. And Billy's part of that, AK's part of that, Eversley, ownership, all of it. When you lose, you just can't say, well, it's not Billy because he's a Hall of Famer. No, no. Everybody need to be out of here. I've been saying that for a while here on ESPN 1000 and here to you that everyone needs to go, including Billy Donovan. And so now it's done.
Which, further illustrates our point of why would Michael Reinsdorf want to keep this guy around in the organization? Because he literally played a part of that.
Yeah.
Him being 26 games under 500 for his career in Chicago, that was him. You can talk about, the lack of talent that AK and Eversley brought in. He still had to coach it. And there were plenty of nights where we were banging our heads on desks talking about substitution patterns and
Yep.
not playing this guy or playing this guy too much. Billy has to share his blame in that. Is he a bad coach? No, I actually think he's a good coach. But you put him in a situation where it's dysfunctional, which is basically what the Bulls organization is. You're going to be dysfunctional too, and that's unfortunately that's going to be Billy's resume when it comes to the Chicago Bulls. He was a part of this dysfunction. He was a part of this losing culture. He was the one, if he was really about teaching, I'm not saying he wasn't, but if he was about the teaching and really trying to get players to be their best selves, it, tell me, have you gotten reports from your sources about Billy going into AK's office like, hey, I need better talent. I need other guys because this group that you keep giving me is not cutting it.
I I would say toward the end of the tenure, Charles, that there was a disconnect between Donovan and Karnisovas. When you go through 3 seasons and not even pick up the phone to try to make the team better, Donovan had to realize, like, okay, I got to be able to coach this team as hard as possible just to get in the play in because we just don't have enough talent.
Mhm,
This whole collapse of the Bulls is not predicated on Lonzo Ball's injury. It's
mhm,
just because you didn't have enough talent around it in a major market. And so it was not like that early, but definitely late. There was some issues. But I like that was kept in house. Billy is never going to let it show unless it's off the
mhm,
record. He will never blast anybody. You won't hear that kind of talk. But that's what I understand that there was issues at the end. It's like, okay, so what are we doing? What is the plan? And so even Michael Reinsdorf had to wonder, okay, what's the plan? I'm sure Billy Donovan might have talked to Michael Reinsdorf about this and said, okay, it's 6 years. I don't know the direction of the organization. And I'm sure
Mhm.
Michael woke up out of his slumber and said, okay, well, let me find out what's going on. And so this is what happened. I know that Donovan, he's come as close to say that we need to have meaningful games in May and June. He would say,
Mhm.
when the Bulls got bounced. And that says a lot, meaning that you need more talent to get there. I mean,
Yeah.
look, it's kind of like how Tom Thibodeau worked, right? Tom Thibodeau with the Bulls, knowing that he didn't have enough, you know, top shelf talent, he did whatever he could to be able to cobble together enough wins to compete against LeBron
Mhm.
because it was a work ethic. 3-hour practices,
Yeah.
learning how to play defense, having your second unit play strong defense, scoring in the 90s. Could you imagine that now? To try to win games like old school, right? Because this is what you
Yeah.
had. You didn't have
Yeah.
enough talent. You had some, but you didn't have like, oh my God, a whole bunch of all-star talent that they can get you there to be on the same level as LeBron's teams. So, Billy did the right thing. Billy said, you're not going to let me go? I'll let myself go. I don't need this bullshit anymore. So I want to get your thoughts on that. Then I'm going to have to face you with some hard truths here.
I mean, kudos to Billy. I think he understood the dynamic of what was going on with this team, and he wasn't going to be a part of any rebuild of having to work with another president of basketball operations and a general manager.
No,
He got his money, from the Bulls. They paid him very well to be the head coach of the team, and he's what 60 years old now. Why, why go through that? Why beat yourself up over the next 2 or 3 years with a team that is going to underperform? Is going to struggle to get 30, 35 wins in the season. No, let me just let me pack my stuff up. Let me go ahead and get the hell out of here. It's been a nice ride. I don't fault Billy for that at all.
right. Yeah, absolutely. Why stick around? If you're still going to be coaching this team, you'll be coaching a bunch of guys that are learning to play the game and some
Mhm.
veterans. So I'm going to have to let you and the audience see the hard truth. Okay, you want to see the death of the Bulls? I
Let's
mean,
go.
it's one thing. It's one thing that you got to listen. It's going to hurt, man. Look, the band-aid's on. I'm going to pull it off really quickly. So you ready for this? Because
Let's go. Let's do
okay,
it.
the autopsy is not horrible, but it is pretty much starting over. that's your that's your issue. If you are listening on the podcast, what I just showed Charles, who was just passed out in his room there in his office, the 2026 Chicago Bulls. Josh Giddey, Trey Jones, Isaac Okoro, Modest Buzelis, Jalen Smith. Okay, that's your five. You have a team option with Rob Dillingham. You have Patrick Williams, Leonard Miller, Noah Sengay, and Mo Gay. Okay, the positive is, okay, now listen, Charles, hang in there now. There's a positive. There's a
I'm
positive.
waiting for it.
Okay. Well, you see there on the right side there, you have $58 million of cap space.
Okay.
You do have picks 9, 15. Thank you, Portland. 9, 15, 38, and 56.
Okay.
You have some exceptions of 9.4 million. You have a veteran minimum. You got first and second round, okay, for your exceptions. You have a bushel basket filled with free agents that's on the screen here, Simons and Zach Collins and Mac McClung and all these, a lot of no names on here as well. Colin
Mhm.
Sexton's on there. Got to mention him. That's a free agent as well. The positive of what we're showing Bulls fans here is the $58 million cap space. However, even that could be fool's gold because you're not just going to go all in and be like, Kessler. We'll just get this 3-point shooter that'll make the 100 level of the United Center happy. No. See, even though it's the most cap space that's available in the league, you have to be careful with that money. It's
Mhm.
kind of like the home shows that have the dream lottery, right? It's like I just won the lottery and they get themselves like a $10 million home and then they're broke
Mhm. Yeah.
after paying the mortgage and the taxes, right? So even though that's a lot of money, that doesn't mean the Bulls change. See, here's the problem. a lot of what I showed you is bad, but you do have draft picks.
Mhm.
Now that depends on who's going to make those draft picks because now the whole thing has to be reimagined. Whatever this Bulls thing is going to be, whoever the GM is has to be able to look at this and say, well, who are we? Are we small ball Golden State? Are we going to be like Detroit? Are we going to be like San Antonio? Like, I don't know what the direction is for the Bulls. And that's why it's scary. New might be great, but also new is scary because I don't know what the Bulls will look like. But you saw those numbers. What did you and those names?
Can
That give you any hope?
can you pull that back up again? Because I just need
Sure.
to see something.
Sure.
All right, so you're telling me right now your quote unquote starting five are those five.
At this time, yes.
That's a lot of bad. Okay.
Yep.
That's a lot of bad. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you. Well, let me ask you. Did you have a problem with Josh Giddey? What did you think of Josh Giddey this past season?
You
Him
know,
by himself.
by himself, I mean, there were like real moments where he was really able to kind of make an impact, but there were a lot of nights where it's like, oh, Josh Giddey's got a triple double. What if the Bulls lose by 25 points? So what type of an impact is that really? I mean, yes, he's a player. Is he someone to build your franchise around? No. I mean, he's the third option, I think, on a championship team. But if that's your star, you're in a lot of trouble. Buzelis, you know, some great dunks, throughout the season on some
Yeah.
people, some highlight reels. But you also saw him get exposed quite a bit, especially on the defensive end. So he has a lot of growing up to do still in the league. But this is unfortunately, well, maybe not unfortunately, but this is your nucleus really of those two because, well, one, you paid Josh Giddey, I don't know what, 20, $25 million a year for the next 3 years. So he's not going anywhere. And, you just have to see what Buzelas can become. The other three guys, I mean, they're just guys. Trey Jones is a solid player. I don't know if he should be starting on an NBA franchise that's trying to compete. Jalen Smith is a young talent, but again, he's very young. And Isaac Okoro, sure, defensive stopper, in a sense, but should he again be starting for a team that's trying to contend? No, probably not. So yeah, you're right. The next guy that's coming in, or the next two guys, if Michael Reinsdorf doesn't decide to, combine the two positions, he's got a lot of work cut out for him. You've got the 58 million in cap space, but what do you do with that? Do you bring in or try to bring in two players, three players, keeping in mind that you still have to sign your draft picks at 9 and 15, especially for this year? It's a lot of movable parts, and the players that you have under contract right now
Yes.
don't necessarily lead you to think that the light is at the end of the tunnel somewhere. And you still got to find a coach that has to coach this group.
We fucked.
More or less.
I don't have any answers for you on that roster. Like
Neither do I.
So you're building through Buzelis and Giddey on the front end.
Mhm.
Just saying, like, and then I can't help you with I have no idea what this looks like. And I don't know the complexion of the Bulls moving forward. I mean, listen, I can give you a plan, but you won't like it. You want a plan?
Yeah, give me a plan. Any plan.
Okay. So I'll give you the Dwayne Wade plan. I'll give you the Dwayne Wade plan of paying for veterans only to trade them and flip them for draft picks. Now you're spinning your wheels when you do that. Now,
Mhm.
will you get competitive basketball? Whoever's coaching it, Wes Unseld Jr., whoever's coaching it, like you'll get quality veterans with young players. And for the short term, I can get you to the play-in, but that's not what you're trying to do. But also, I'm not trying to be Washington, and I'm not trying to be. I'll just stop at Washington because I know what Indiana's doing. Like they're going to be
Yeah.
fine. Like
Yeah.
after Halliburton's healthy, they'll get right back up there in the top 6
Mhm.
of the East. So let me just say, I don't want to be the Wizards. And with the Bulls organization, all we know is the Michael Jordan era and the Derrick Rose era, because you had to have a lucky ping pong ball to get Derrick. And
Mhm.
thank you, Rod Thorne, for getting Michael Jordan in an era in which you did not draft uh, shooting guards. Everybody laughed at the Bulls when they got Michael
Oh,
Jordan.
yeah.
Like, oh my God, like Mark Eaton from Utah and some of these and the players, and they were like, a two guard? And they just held their stomachs and laughed like, you draft a two guard, which sounds crazy today
Yeah.
because back then you had to get just the biggest, dumbest big guy that could just be close to the rim. Just anyone galloping down the lane, just anybody that could just gallop down the lane and give you, quality on the inside. The biggest center you could find. That's how it
Mhm.
was. So that's why people when Rod Thorne got Michael Jordan's like two guard, that makes no sense. But I that's one plan. If I said you had a couple of levers to pull. If I said I can get you a couple of veterans with that cap space and you'll be competitive for a year, but then you have to flip them at the deadline or the following year. You good with that in the short term?
Uh, we saw that movie though when D Wade and Rajon Rondo was with the Bulls. We saw that
Yeah.
they they did make the playoffs and lost in the first round, and then the bottom.
The locker room was a wreck.
Yeah,
It was bad because
yeah,
Jimmy was in there too, right?
yeah, Jimmy. I think that was Jimmy's last year. That was the 2016 17 season.
Yeah.
So yeah, they made the playoffs and somehow lost to the Celtics, even though they had a 2-1 lead. But that's neither here nor there. No, you can do that. You can do that to try to keep the UC full, because I'm sure you noticed just as I noticed,
Wow.
empty seats were starting to form
Mhm.
at the UC. So yeah,
Yeah.
you can bring in a couple of veterans. They could go ahead and win 40, 45 games, maybe sneak into the play-in, maybe play well enough to get you to a first round series. But what does that do for you in the long term? It's not doing
There's
anything for you.
there's Charles and the kids, by the way. There, I can see you
Yeah.
guys in 200 level waving. You just love the popcorn trip. You get that's
Good
it.
old Benny the Bull. Yeah.
No one likes the popcorn trick more than the Taylors, boy. They love
Yeah.
it. They love going. Burning gas, seeing some bullshit basketball. But you know what? It's a fun time. The DJ is solid.
Terrible. Just terrible.
So, I mean, I can give you that. Or I can give you the slow process of building through the draft and hoping that you have the right guys. Like you have several picks now in the first round, and of course, a bunch of second round picks because AK
Mhm.
was inept at his job as a vice president of basketball operations. So you got a lot of those. I mean, it is worth pennies on the dollar now. Those second round picks. I mean, you hope to get a diamond. Usually, you stash those euros
Yeah.
and they never see the floor. They're in the Windy City Bulls, whatever. But I mean, so would you like to build the draft then?
I don't think you have a choice. Like,
Well, that's painful.
yeah, it was very painful. But if you get the right, VP of operations in here, along with the right GM, yeah, start over. I mean, Oklahoma City had to do that. Like they had to rip it down to the studs in order to build that thing back up to a championship level team. Uh, Unfortunately, when you've been in basketball hell and purgatory for the better part of a decade, if not more than that, yeah, you just need to start all the way over. And it starts with whoever Michael Reinsdorf decides to hire. And also, can I say this? The fact that Michael Reinsdorf has to go and find a firm to go out and search for a GM and president of basketball operations really speaks to just how inept ownership is. This is the Chicago Bulls. This is not Charlotte. This isn't, Memphis. You know,
Uh-huh.
this is not one of those franchises. This is literally one of the 4 or 5 most known franchises in the NBA, one of the most known franchises in sports. And you mean to tell me that ownership has to go out and hire a consulting firm to try to find your next vice president of basketball operations? that's the part that just blows my mind. You've decades, decades of relevance thanks to Michael Jordan, and no one decided to make inroads with other GMs and vice presidents throughout the league. They just sat back in their corner. Oh, we're the Bulls. We have the legacy of the 6 championships, and everyone will want to come here. Like, what are we doing here?
Well, if we were in ownership, you and I were in ownership, first of all, we're kicking it a lot.
Oh, for sure.
We're at the Fanatics party. We're wearing white.
Yeah.
And we are popping bottles,
Yeah.
and we're exchanging business cards, and we're getting a chance to be able to learn a lot about our business.
Mhm.
It's not the flex like it used to be, like, hey, I'm an owner of such and such. Back in the day, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
now, like, there's so many owners, there's players that are playing currently that own teams. All right.
Mhm.
The flex is winning,
Yeah.
being an owner and winning, where now you walk in the room and like Charles Taylor, Jay Hood, those guys won championships. Come on over here, man, to the bar. No, don't pull the credit card out. Tell us how
Got
you
you.
did that. Give us something.
Yeah.
Give us a little. So for Michael Reinsdorf, Charles, in 2026,
Mhm.
to not have the drawer open, to just say, hold on, let me open the drawer here, and then pull out 5 or 6 names, to not be able to go to other teams and sit in the arena, or, hey, can we get dinner? I want to know how you were able to rebuild this thing so sonically with the San Antonio Spurs. It's more than Wimby. It's like post pop. How do you
Mhm.
keep the integrity of the team? Bread and circuses, the way you treat your fan. Like, I would learn all of that from San Antonio.
Mhm.
I would go to Golden State and talk to Joe Lacob. I would
Mhm.
talk to the Pistons and go, how the hell did you pass us up so quickly?
Mhm.
You were down there with Stan Van and struggling. You paid Monty Williams $100 million, fired him after 1 year. How'd you
Mhm.
get to the top of the East? I talked to Boston. I would talk to all these different teams that always find themselves in the mix.
Mhm.
And I would say, how did you do that? And then find out about your GM and your assistant coaches and your scouting. I would be curious, because it's one thing to sit on a pile of money and be like, hey, we're number one in attendance. Look at us. We had Michael Jordan, 6 titles in 8 years, but you ain't did shit since. So my point is, there's no way that you and I would be in ownership and just be like, they can come to us. Because if you need a search firm and you don't know what's next in basketball, who
Mhm.
the hot young assistant is, or the hot GM that's to come, if you fire Billy, if Billy leaves, if you got to fire Connor Chavez and Eversley, if you don't know, then shame on you. Then you're not doing your business well. You're just counting the money. And that just shows me the Reinsdorfs will Reinsdorf. Same thing. A search firm in 2026 is sad.
Absolutely. And now that I think of it, the whole AK thing, that was a firing of, we were getting our asses handed to us in the media. I got to do something.
Yeah.
And that was just kind of a spur of the moment thing of, yeah, we need to get rid of these guys. Not the years of ineptitude before then. It just happened to be a blow up situation featuring one of your players who decided to proselytize, to the media and blow up the locker room. That was the point where you decided to, get out of your chair in your mansion and be like, hey, I might need to take a look at this. And even if you decided to do that and just freestyle it, still have a plan.
Yeah.
Like, still have some people that you can pick up the phone and talk to and say, hey, look, I'm probably getting ready to blow this thing up. Who do you have in mind, or who do you think that we can go after realistically to take the keys to this franchise and do a full rebuild. Like, everything just by the seat of his pants. No plan in place. And that's why I think we as Bulls fans are really worried about, how this whole search for the new VP and GM is going to turn out, because the ownership knows nothing. They just know how to write checks.
I couldn't do that job, Charles, and not have a name. But the one thing about Under the Hood, it's one thing for us to talk about the Bulls, but we have to have answers.
Mhm.
So there are names on both sides, GMs and head coaches that the Bulls can look at. So that's why we have this. So the Bulls need some help. Okay. So let me just tell you, here's a connection that you can make. As we're looking at here on YouTube, make sure that you like, share, subscribe, and comment to this video and everything else we do here at Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. So Matt Lloyd is someone I knew when he's with the Bulls organization before in public relations. He worked his way up as an assistant with the Minnesota Timberwolves in that front office, and he's done a great job. Have you seen the Timberwolves? Have you
Yeah.
seen that team? Matt Lloyd's part of that.
Mhm.
So I'm going to skip across to the right side of this graphic and go to Micah Nori. Every team that needs a head coach will talk to Micah Nori. Micah Nori is going to be a fine coach for someone. I don't know about the Bulls, but I'm just telling you that everyone is going to look at Chris Finch's assistant, Micah Nori, and say, would you come coach for us? He's a hot name. I don't have a problem if the Bulls linked up Deerfield's own Matt Lloyd, who knows basketball, who knows where the bodies are buried, who's worked with the Reinsdorfs before. So he's one of those guys that can go around the Reinsdorfs like, oh, I know, Michael and Jerry. Hey, thanks for the job. Yeah, Deerfield. Yeah, let's go to Espresso. Let's just have a nice lunch. Let's have a nice soup. And then just be like, all right, guys, have a nice day. Let me just get the job done, right? Matt is that guy. If he teamed with Nori, if that's a combination, and you took two people from the Wolves organization, now you're taking two people from a winning organization in the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Mhm.
I have no problem with that. But just so you know, Micah Nori is going to get a lot of interviews as an assistant for Chris Finch. So that's a name. Then we look at some of these other GM candidates. Dennis Lindsay from the Pistons, Bryson Graham from the Hawks. Don't be surprised, by the way, if Kyle Korver gets some interviews. He's in the front office of the Hawks too. I don't know about the Bulls, but
Yeah.
it's a guy he's learning the position. So don't be surprised if he moves up someplace. Kyle Korver, and I think I told you the story last time that we were together. Kyle Korver, playing for Thibodeau, would sit in his car at the Berto Center and just stare across his windshield, holding the steering wheel. And then Joakim Noah would be like, hey, man, you good? No. Practice at 2:30. It's 2:22. Just give me 8 minutes. I'll be in there. He's so tired and just trying to get his mind right for the 3-hour process from Thibodeau. He would just sit there and just look through the windshield like he's scared to death to go in there because he knows Thibodeau's going to kick his ass. So Kyle Korver, it will be a name. Mike Gasney from the Cavaliers is a name. Tellup from the Spurs. Austin Brown from CAA. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I think we've been there before of someone that was not not necessarily in an NBA front office. How'd that work for Mark Eversley? I never got new shoes from Eversley.
No, neither did I. So
so there's some names that they will talk to. Dave Tellup, by the way, is from Chicago. Bryson Graham, I should go back because I want to make sure that people know these names. So Lloyd started from the beginning. He was a Bulls front office executive. Mike Gasney is the Hawks senior vice president. Hold on a second. Let me make sure I get this right, Charles. Cavaliers general manager Mike Gasney. Atlanta Hawks senior vice president Bryson Graham. San Antonio Spurs assistant general manager Dave Tellup. And Chicago area native Austin Brown. He is the co-head of the CAA's basketball operations, who was a candidate for the GM job when Karnisovas got it in 2020. So I just want to make sure people know who those people are. I mean, you see the teams, but I just want to give their job, especially Dave Tellup, and also Austin Brown, the co-head of CAA's basketball operations. So I just want to give those names. So none of those names are the former head of the Golden State Warriors.
No. No,
So
they. I mean, you would. I think it's going to be even more than a Brinks truck to try to convince a Bob Myers to get here. I actually don't know what it would take to bring him here. But I mean, of the names listed, would I mind uh, the combo from Minnesota to get here, or maybe Telep as the assistant GM of the Spurs, to become the GM of the Bulls? I mean, I guess those are two solid options for it. But yeah, this is what happens though when again we get back to ownership not knowing to or who to call when it's time to pick up the phone and just get some feelers out or get some advice or get some pointers. There's the search firm, and it's decent. It's a decent list. Nothing's going to jump out of the page
no.
for any Bulls fans, but this is what you're left with when you have ownership that just doesn't know what the hell they're doing.
Chris Quinn should have been a head coach by now, an
Yes.
assistant with Spoelstra with the Heat. I've been hearing this name forever. Chris Quinn will get some interviews for sure. Would he be with the Bulls? I don't know. I have not called someone in Miami today because of the Donovan news. I will start making some calls here
Hmm.
between now and in the end of this NFL draft and Bears, and there's a lot of stuff going on. But I will find out,
But
why he hasn't had a job yet.
does he leave Miami? Because Ulstra's got to be getting near the end.
Well, that's when you leave.
Yeah.
If you see the writing on the wall, that is
Yeah.
like that Heat thing that's done. Like
Yeah, heat
unless
culture.
unless Giannis goes to Miami, like
Mhm.
if they don't get the big fish, then that's just done.
Yeah.
Oh, and so the other one, I saw Taylor Jenkins up there. That's Taylor Jenkins. I don't know if he's desperate enough to take the Bulls job. Taylor Jenkins is a hell of a basketball coach.
Yeah.
He is. That whole thing with Mike Conley, not Mike Conley from with Memphis when he was there. Um, there's a disconnect.
Mhm.
This just happens in the league. Taylor Jenkins can coach his ass off. I expect him to get a job in the league.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's the Bulls because if you're Jenkins, you look at this and you go, well, where's the talent?
Yeah.
Right? You're not gonna mess up my one-loss record with this nonsense. And like, so I mean, he's a hell of a coach. He will coach again, Charles, but I don't think it would be with the Bulls. I saw him on that graphic I just put up, but that's not a name, and also it's not Steve Kerr. For those that
Mhm.
are commenting in the chat here, that's not Steve Kerr either, who could be leaving Golden State. But it'd
Yeah.
be great, wouldn't it?
It'd be great if you could get Steve Kerr here because not only the head coaching experience, also the GM experience when he was with the Phoenix Suns. So, you get someone who has his ear to the ground when it comes to um NBA teams across the league. I mean, that would be a great pickup. I doubt if it happens. I doubt Steve Kerr would want to come here with everything that's not in place at the moment. That these are the big names. But again, if Michael Reinsdorf had just come out and just done the clean sweep, you fire AK, you fire Eversley, and then before you make the announcement, you have to sit down with Billy and be like, hey Billy, we're just going to go in a different direction. I appreciate everything you've done, but I think we just need to make a clean sweep. Then you don't have to make a ridiculous statement like the one he made during that first press conference. I,
I think I might have said this to you. I know I've said this in Under the Hood that Tom Thibodeau's open for business. Tom's ready to coach, and didn't matter what kind of team it is because he feels like he can walk on water.
mhm,
So he doesn't. So actually, this would be tailor made for Tom if he wanted to come back because now he could just browbeat a bunch of young guys that can't fire him.
yeah.
Like you don't have any veterans to be like, get this guy out of here. You can't. It doesn't happen in Chicago, but he is open for business. Would you want that?
Uh, I
If it
mean,
takes
will he be
if
able
it
to?
takes that much time, then no, you don't want
Yeah,
him here. Okay.
yeah. If he can teach some young players, but again, What's the end game with that? With Tom coming back, because Tom is, he's a hard ass. You and I both know that,
Yeah.
and eventually he's going to want to win. That is a process that we may be 5, 6, 7 years down the road from actually winning. I don't think Thibodeau wants to go through that.
He's desperate to coach. Now, how desperate, I don't know. I'm just telling you, like he is desperate to coach. So
Yeah.
I mean, look, I wouldn't. I know that there's money to be made. I know it's a major market. It's Chicago,
Hmm.
but it makes it feel like Des Moines because it's run by the Reinsdorfs.
Hmm.
That's the problem, right? But here's the other thing. The other positive is that you don't have ownership sticking their nose in. Once this is made, the president of basketball operations, the GM, the head coach, Michael will disappear
Hmm.
and Jerry will disappear, which is strange, right? I
Yeah.
mean, they'll be at games, but then they disappear. They
Hmm.
do allow their employees to do their job until it gets to a certain level where they see empty seats or there's a
Hmm.
controversy with someone being in someone's face saying, "Hey, did you fornicate before marriage?" Till you get that, then it's all good.
Yeah. I will give them credit for that. They aren't meddlers. They aren't Jerry Jones.
No, they're not.
They're sticking their nose into every bit of the business. But again, they have to get this right, or else you're looking at another decade plus, or where the Bulls are essentially the Clippers of the late '80s and '90s. They're just perennially bad. So he has to score with this one. He just has to. Or if you thought you saw empty seats now at the United Center, just wait.
Yeah.
Just wait till that team, that's only wins, 25, 28 games a year and see how empty United Center is going to be.
But here's the frustrating part. This scene that we're looking at right now with 19,000 people United Center, that doesn't happen until March or April when they start. That's the problem.
Hmm.
The Bulls fans will come out just to see the opponent,
Hmm.
if not the Bulls, and that's the problem. There's not enough empty seats. This bit should look like New Orleans in the regular season. It should look like Smoothie King for real.
Yeah.
That's what
No,
it should
you're
look
right.
like, but it's not though. That's the problem. For those that never don't have the package like me and CJ, like we've seen some of these games around the league.
Hmm.
It's like, oh man, where is everybody? Because they know, right?
Yeah.
Washington also has this where they had a lot of people depending on the opponent, but otherwise
Hmm.
they're not coming out. Brooklyn had this as well. Brooklyn
Hmm.
was sold out like toward the end of the season. I think it was I think it was a bad game too. It was Brooklyn, Utah, or something like that. Like what I mean, but here's the thing that's still strange about what we love about basketball. There's just some people that's just attacked to or attached to the NBA culture.
Hmm.
Oh, game on tonight. We gotta go. Gotta go. It
Yeah.
just they're just part of just being in the stands, watching basketball, and going home. There's some just like baseball fans, just like you football fans, they're just attracted to just the vibe.
Hmm.
It just is, even though the action might be bad, and that's just crazy to me. I would not go to the bull to see the Bulls until I saw them competitive, and I can get in for free with a credential, and I'm still not going.
Yeah. The United Center offers a family friendly atmosphere. You can get to, walk around the stadium that Michael Jordan once played. It still plays. Michael hasn't picked up a ball in almost 30 years. It still plays because of the aura and the mystique of the place. You're still going to get a family of four to be like, "Hey, you want to do something tonight? Well, hey, let's go to a Bulls game." The kids love Benny the Bull. He can pour popcorn on them, and toss T-shirts at him that nearly pokes out eyes. But you know,
Yes,
but
yes,
that is the state of Chicago basketball fans right now. They're just going to pack the United Center for just any reason. You know, Bulls and Pacers this year, both teams sucked. United Center was sold out.
yeah.
I don't understand why.
So it's funny. We just talked about Bob Myers, and then the head coach, whoever you like, whoever Bob would hire, like cajoling Steve to be there for a 3-year run after Golden
Mhm,
State. And it's just like, hey, we got cap space, we got draft picks, we're gonna flip this shit. We're gonna be top 5, top 6, and we're gonna compete with Boston and Cleveland, and we're gonna compete with Detroit. Like the search firm won't say Bob Myers.
no.
That's the problem. The search firm will give you old heads.
Mhm,
And because you know how I know? The Bears, when they had their search
mhm,
firm, right? Yeah, search
mhm.
firm. And they went with Bill Polian as part of that search firm, and he gave us Matt Eberflus. See? No one wants to talk about that part of it, though, that Matt Eberflus came because not because that was necessarily a polls pick,
Mhm,
but it was a Bill Polian pick because Bill Polian spent all those years with the Colts and
yeah.
is trying to do Eberflus a solid and then got him the job, right?
Mhm,
So what I'm telling you is that even though the NBA is a little bit more modern, a little bit more with it than the NFL, you still have NFL scouts, by the way, making black players turn around and be a wide receiver than be a quarterback. Go to your TikTok, by the way. Here's a little fun thing. Go to your TikTok and find that Gruden quarterback camp. Go through that
mhm.
when you're coming home one day and see there's a player. I won't even say there's a player that excels at quarterback. And Gruden's like, hey, wouldn't it be better if you're a wide receiver? You got big hands. And the guy's like, nah, I'm good. I'm a quarterback. I don't know, man. I saw your 40 time. I think that you might be like that kind of shit, right? Like you're
Yeah.
still doing that in 2026, really?
Mhm,
With an athletic player, doesn't matter the race, but in this case, it's a brother, an
mhm.
athletic quarterback. Probably be better as a pass catcher, really. So I want you to take a look at that.
Yeah.
But um, don't even know what the point is, but I know that, but I know that the Chicago Bulls have some issues, man. Got some issues. And again, I'm gonna put up the reality to you. I'm gonna slap you in the face with reality here. There you go. Bag of dicks, the Chicago Bulls. I want you to tell me, Charles. You tell me, how do you get better from this? Go ahead. When you're on your social media and ranting about the Bulls late at night when your family's put to bed, I want you to explain to me how you get out of this. Giddy, Trey Jones, Okoro, Buzelis, Smith, $58 million worth of cap space. You got some names there, but the point is, though, is like, how are you contending with this in the next 3 years?
You're not, and
Okay.
that's the only answer I have for you. You're not.
Okay.
I mean, unless you get incredibly lucky, um, with the ninth and 15th pick, and even then, you're still waiting 3 years for those players to blossom. You're not getting out of this. Just Bulls fans, just be prepared to live in hell for the next 3 years, regardless of who they pick as the next GM and head coach. This is going to be terrible. This is going to be near Washington Wizards terrible for the
Oof.
next 3 years. I mean, they have to do this now because everybody's gone. You just have to strip everything down, and you just have to completely start over, which makes it even more important that they have to get this this hire right for VP and GM. They have to get it right because if you bring in some bozos, you know, what becomes 5 7 years now becomes 10 15 years, and you're the Clippers. Yeah, that's who you are for the next 15 years.
At least the Clippers had a chance to get into the playoffs.
Well, that's true. They did have they had some moments there. They had some moments before Lob City. They had some moments.
By the way, as we close, did you hear what Stephen A. Smith said about Kawhi Leonard?
Oh,
Have you seen that clip?
I have not seen that clip.
He said that he's the worst superstar probably in the history of the NBA because Kawhi doesn't do anything outside of playing basketball. That he doesn't market it himself. He doesn't help the league. He just out there. And I would just say to Steve, like, have you heard of Kevin Durant?
Have you heard of Tim Duncan?
Kevin
Like,
Durant is just a hooper. Like, he's not worried about. I mean, obviously, he argues with Twitter eggs. I know he does
yeah,
that. You can't compliment him because he doesn't. He ignores the compliments, but he
yeah,
loves the hate.
all
But
the smoke.
I thought that was interesting. I would probably wouldn't have said that.
I, I, you know, Stephen A. just says stuff sometimes just to. I know he's got to do what he's got to do for clicks and views, but he, like the league has been filtered with players that don't go outside.
Yeah.
Like you heard of SGA acting up outside?
Nope.
I mean,
Nope.
there's tons of players, that they just come in, they play ball, they go home. Or if they are outside, they are off of social media. So you don't really get to understand, what it is that they're doing. But I mean, that's Kawhi. And you gotta appreciate Kawhi for just, hey, I'm just here to play ball. That's it.
When you talk about the dregs of the NBA, Charles, I just want you because I know that after this will not satiate you. You will be ranting and raving about the Bulls on your platform because that's just how it works. Never mind about the almost hour we have for you to get this out of your system so you can spend time with your family. But no, there'll be more, folks, because he just can't let it go. He can't believe my partner here cannot believe what's happening with this Bulls team. If his family was not home, he'd be talking about this in a louder voice and crashing out on us. But he understands that he has to be even keel because next door, his wife will not allow that. But I mean, we're talking about the dregs, man. We're talking about the Nets and the Wizards and the
Mhm.
Bulls in the
Yeah.
East. And then when we talk about the West, the Bulls want to try to avoid being the Jazz, who's been like for the forever tank.
Mhm.
I mean, God Almighty, that's just amazing. Like they just and doing it on purpose
Mhm.
for everyone in God to see how they are doing it on purpose. Like the Jazz and the Kings and
Mhm.
the Grizzlies, Mavericks will try to work their way when they get healthy. That'll be
Yeah.
back up there again. Pelicans, like you don't want to be that, but that's where it is though. That's
Uh,
where it is.
That's
So
exactly where it is.
yeah.
So be prepared for it. Don't allow your blood pressure to boil over the fact that you're about to watch a 25-win team for the next 2 years. This is what it is. This is you have to be able to just kind of smile and wave at this. If they plan to be a serious organization and try to rebuild, yeah, you got to eat these next 2-3 years. It's after that that
If
that
if you're doing it with development of young
yes,
players, then anything can happen.
yeah,
Not to the I don't think the tippy top of the league or the conference, but if you bring in the right people, because this is going to be a clean sweep. All those coaches are out.
hmm
All those scouts are out. I
hmm
mean, shooting coach, all that. That's going to be done.
yeah,
So if you develop it, right, the way this league gives you so many opportunities with your league cup here and your playing game there,
hmm
I mean, you can dig yourself in the bottom, but if you don't have a plan and a direction, then it's going to look like the Jazz and the Kings. It's going
hmm
to look like the Grizzlies and the Pelicans, and so or the Wizards, which is the worst. So it's what it
yeah,
is, man.
yeah. I mean, and again, this gets back to Michael Reinsdorf, who doesn't have a clue on how to build a franchise. So what we talked about earlier, hey, are we going to play small ball like the Golden State Warriors? Are we
Mhm.
going to get bigger, more physical like the Pistons? Are we going to try to match what New York does or what Boston does? Whoever that person is that they bring in, they have to have that vision because you're not going to get it from ownership. Ownership's not going to be like, hey,
No,
here's how I want my team built. You're
right.
basically leaving this up to whoever it is that you hire. So hopefully, hopefully they get that right.
Where can people find you, sir?
You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Threads. Three. That's where you can find me. In between all the Kevin stage discourse that's happening on Threads right now.
Is there a handle where people can find you that are listening to
Yes.
the podcast?
CTJ14 at Threads, at TikTok, CTJ Report on YouTube.
And you're asking for them to subscribe to what you
Absolutely.
do. Okay.
Subscribe, comment, like, all of it. Let's really get into it.
One day I'm going to teach you that you have to promote yourself. You just can't do it with graphics. You actually have to say it.
Yeah.
You can't have those fancy fucking
I can't have
graphics.
the fancy
Not,
graphics.
not doing the podcast. No, you're gonna have to actually have to speak it out into existence, as they say at church. So
Yeah.
you're gonna have to do that, Charles. Like I can't help you with you don't have the fancy spinning graphics like you do on your social media. You're gonna have to actually say it like
Yeah.
you for people to watch you go off on people. So
And I got plenty of time to do that.
that's something. And lastly, and finally, the beginning of and we'll talk more about the NBA playoffs, by the way, as it continues, because we have to find out who's going to get to the mountaintop. Finally,
Mhm.
I never want to come across as old and dusty. I never want to do
Mhm.
that because as I'm doing this, I'm doing on YouTube. So I'm not just a radio person or just a YouTube content person on ESPN Chicago. I like to be able to stay with the times and go with the ebb and flow of how things go. However, it's crazy that the first game of the NBA playoffs was not on ABC or ESPN. It was on Amazon, I think. I think it was on Amazon, or I think
Yeah,
it
it
was
was.
Amazon or Peacock. It was on Amazon, right? And
Yeah, I
I'm
think they
like,
had
wow.
this is where we are in 2026. 'Cause I
I'm
was
like,
even looking I was looking for the games on Saturday, and, I was like, "Wait a minute, it's not on ABC? ESPN? Like, Amazon? Amazon's
Amazon,
got a
Amazon
doubleheader?"
got the first 2 games of the NBA playoffs. I'm like, look, I'm not tripping. I'm just saying that the casual fan has to
Mhm,
really dig and find. I think I might have told you this. Went to the barber shop last time I was there, and guys were asking other guys in the barber shop, what time is the game on and what channel it's on? It was so much confusion.
mhm,
Because you know why? That TBS and TNT was good for the basketball fan for 25 years.
mhm,
They knew where to find those 40 games and 40 nights, bro. You knew
mhm,
where to find it, man.
mhm.
Okay, is it one or two? I'm gonna get one of the two of these. It's gonna be NBA action on it, right? And if there is an overflow, that's all right. They'll hold up the game if it goes a
Mhm.
little long. But that Turner TV was good to the NBA fan forever. And
Yeah.
now because it's scattered, where it's a Peacock here and Amazon there and ESPN here, ESPN app there, NBA TV, it's like it's become the NFL. It's
Is
hard to
that where the
find.
game is? Is that where the game is tonight? Peacock?
Yeah, Philly, Boston, yeah. It's on
Sitting
Peacock.
up here looking on ESPN trying to find the game.
No,
Okay.
it's on Peacock. I'm watching it now. Yeah, so but I had to go through the guide and find it though. So that's look, I'm not old in telling you that it shouldn't be because networks got to make their money,
Mhm,
but it's something to be said about the marketing of Turner TV to know where shit was. And now when guys tell me earlier this year, when's the All-Star game?
mm,
And then I'm like, excuse me? Yeah, when's the All-Star game? I said, well, it's in a week. What channel is it on? They're so used to like Ernie Johnson. That's another
mhm,
thing. Telling you like it is straight. Hey, this is the
yeah,
All-Star game. We'll be there. Got the music playing in the background. And it's like, okay, I got it. That inside the NBA also important, but then they weren't on very often this year.
mhm,
They had it
yeah,
easy. They get paid more, but they had easy work. It wasn't
mhm.
like that Tuesday when you stayed up until 1:30 in the morning to watch Charles and EJ and Shaq and and Kenny. It's just different. That's all.
Yeah, it is different. Um, I think some of the thing that may be pissing fans off is because they're on these different platforms, whether it's Peacock or Amazon, um, or if you switch to baseball, it's on Apple TV and all
Yeah.
these other different. Now it's like I got to get a subscription for this one, I got to get a subscription for this one, So yeah, I can see how that pisses the fans off because yeah, let me turn on TNT or let me turn on ESPN. I knew it was going to be on one of those two
That's right.
networks for all of the NBA playoffs. I didn't have to try to search for stuff, but yeah, I'm I'm also not trying to be the old dude, the get off my lawn dude, but
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, it is different. It's different in 2026.
Where is this game, man? Where is this game? What that channel? What is it? Amazon. Oh, Taylor Rooks. Yes, sir. Honey, leave the room. I'm gonna spend some time watching Amazon now. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment to everything we do with Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood for a disgruntled Charles Taylor Jr. This is Jonathan Hood. Make sure that you stick with us for the NFL draft. Charles will be with us for the Bears pick for the NFL draft, and cousin Wiley from Africa. I don't know where he is.
Wait, he's gone again?
I don't know. He doesn't tell the family. I don't know where. He just pops up on social media and he's standing on a camel or something. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Like he just leaves. And I'm seeing all these pictures. You follow him on Instagram or on Twitter? Like he's cousin Wiley's. I think he's gonna be with us for the draft show. I haven't
Are you sure?
He's over. He's in tunnels and caves and stuff, and like I don't know where he is. He's just not. He's like at least 24 hours away from here, from Chicago. So I don't know what's going on. I just see it pop up on my timeline. He's with a camel, and just like I think he was. I saw a video of cousin Wiley holding an actual tiger by the tail and like walking a tiger, a real tiger, like a dog. I'm like, what? Where are you, man? Hood, I'll be there on Thursday. Like you know, it's like I don't know. Just it's my.
He needs to show up on Thursday, like riding the tiger. Now that will get you views. Thursday.
I don't know where he is, man. But hopefully he'll be with us for our draft show on Thursday. Thanks so much for checking out Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood and APB out for cousin Wiley. I don't know where he is. So long, everybody. I don't know.